What's good, everybody? This episode of the podcast is sponsored by DistroKid. They are the go-to for digital music distribution and the easiest way for musicians to get their music onto Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, TikTok, YouTube, and more. They offer unlimited uploads, and artists keep 100% of their earnings, getting your music onto platforms and into stores 10 to 20 times faster than any other distributor. They help with cover song clearance, automatic splits, and they offer all kinds of tools and templates to help you get the most visibility for your releases. I dig this company and appreciate their business model that offers more features and tools than any other distributor while doing it at the most affordable price for solo artists, bands, DJs, studio artists, and any other creators that are making music or producing music in their home, and they offer label services as well. They've got 3 different tiers that they offer to creators that start as low as $22.99 a year. That's just $1.92 a month. And even their top tier is only $7.50 per month. And the best part about DistroKid sponsoring the podcast is they are offering Dan Cable Presents listeners 30% off their first year of service with DistroKid, making their affordable prices even cheaper for you. I will put that discount link in the episode notes. It will also be in my Instagram bio. Big shout out to DistroKid for sponsoring this podcast for more than 3 years now. Much appreciated. Now let's get into the episode.
Looking down at the corner of the
What is happening, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Dan Cable Presents podcast. Thank you for tuning into the program once again. If this is your first time listening, thanks for checking out the show. You can find fresh episodes coming at you on Tuesdays. And if you want to help support this thing in a free way, you can do so by clicking subscribe on iTunes, clicking write a review, giving the podcast 5 stars if you feel like it is deserving of so. And that will help propel this thing into the tops of those iTunes charts, giving it more visibility on the national and international levels, helping strangers find the podcast, and just a great way to contribute to the growth and sustainability of this thing. Appreciate the hell out of all the folks that have already taken the time to do so. If you're not listening on Apple, just hit like, follow, subscribe wherever you are listening from. Tell a friend about the podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, you can hit subscribe there. Hope everybody is doing well out there. I'm getting over this cold situation. I feel like I've been sick for 2 weeks, but we're hanging in there. I feel like I'm finally coming out the other side, but it's a nasty one. It just doesn't seem to be going away. So if you're feeling a little ill out there, I hope you're getting better. I am very stoked to be back in action here this week on the podcast. I am in conversation with my bud Neil Mattson, who puts on the Montevilla Jazz Festival here in Portland, and bassist Julio Appling. They're a part of a band called Trio Flux that was formed about 15 years ago. They started it with their dear friend Adam Ochshorn, who was a really amazing drummer and composer. And about 10 years ago, back in 2015, Adam passed away in a climbing accident. And I didn't know Adam, but I thought this was a really cool opportunity to get to help share some of his story and some of the music that he worked on, and his spirit and who he was as a person. So when Neil told me about this record that he and Julio were working on to pay tribute to Adam, I was just very on board with helping spread the word and getting to learn about their band and their friends. So a few years ago, Neil and Julio started having conversations about how they could bring all these compositions and music that Adam had left behind, some of which Trio Flux had worked on as a band towards the end of Adam's life. And now that record is complete. It's called Zwies, and there's a special album release show happening on November 17th at the Alberta Rose Theater. They will be playing with another great band called Outer Orbit. That is this coming Monday, and I just feel honored to have gotten to sit down with Neil and Julio and talk to them about how they went about making this record and all the emotion behind it and the amazing cast of drummers that they brought in to play on different tracks on this new trio Flux record, including Tyrone Hendricks, Micah Hummel, and Brent Follis. The album was produced by Adam's close friend, Steve Swatkins, who is a killer musician, and a lot of other great players that contributed to making this record. And it just feels very special to have gotten to sit down with these guys, spend some time with them, and do my best to help them pay tribute to their friend. So big thanks to Julio and Neil for taking the time to chat with me and their vulnerability on the mics. And I will be sure to put all the links for the band and the ticket link to that show in the episode notes. And I hope this conversation can shed some light on the process of making this record, as well as the chemistry that these guys shared with their friend. And just a beautiful thing that they have done to commemorate their friend and this band. And I think it's really cool that they get to share this now with Adam's friends and family, and get to share some of the music that's been, locked away in the vault. So with all that, we're going to get into this thing, episode 458 with Trio Flux. And to kick things off, we're going to play a track from that new record. It is called New Love. Now let's do the damn thing.
Can I get the correct pronunciation of the record? Is it?
Yeah, Zwise.
Zwise.
Well, I hope it is.
I just
Should we
want to
call
make sure.
Yeah, I was about to ask for that myself, actually.
Well, we're leaning.
Who would you be calling for this?
Steve Watkins. So
Did Steve name the record? We're pretty much going. You can
Yeah,
say
no,
whatever
that's
you want.
great.
I'll do introduction and post.
yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, no, that's good. So we the last thing we did on this project was pick a name for the record.
Okay.
Like after we recorded it and after we chose the track order and the whole deal. So it's been in the whole all in all, it's been, I mean, technically it's like 12 years of work, because we started working on this music with Adam in like 2013, 2014.
Yeah.
It's sort of like Trio Flux post Mobius, which was our previous release.
Okay.
Technically our second record, but really our first real nice.
And what year was that?
2012.
Oh my gosh.
And we released that in 2013. And so the music after Mobius is Zwise. And Zwise is Adam's chosen name.
Okay.
And this story was brought to us by Christy Linden, who's his ex-girlfriend, but she had been visiting recently with Adam's parents in New York, and texted me, and she said, I know you guys you're thinking about naming the album Climb, and it's cool and it's your thing, but I just wanted to tell you this little story. When Adam was like 8, he wrote a letter to his mom and said, from henceforth I would like to be known as Zwise, thank you. And for whatever reason, it became his like D&D name, and like,
and it's also a major like killer on the Scrabble board too, because it has like ZWY. Does it have X in it too?
So he's like, for experience points in Scrabble,
Yeah.
it's like killer.
I don't think it's going to survive a challenge, though. I don't think it is in the Merriam-Webster.
There you go.
That seems like a perfect name. then,
It's a
for the
great name,
record.
and it's also the type of thing that will beg the question, or like, hey, tell me about the name.
Yeah.
So there's the story, and it's another layer of tribute involved in a big tribute project that what Julio and I tried to do was just to involve people who care about Adam and
Yeah.
at every step, and say, hey, like we had Trio Flux connection, but there's so many different connections that folks have in this scene and then in New York, and
Yeah.
and so that was kind of the whole deal.
Well, I'm excited to have you all here. I did not know Adam, but I'm excited to learn about Adam and celebrate him through this conversation, as you guys have done with this Trio Flux record. So just to jump things off, tell me about how this project initially came together, and what do you guys both remember about meeting or playing music with Adam for the first time?
Yeah. Well, Julio, you can like help me remember, because I'm like in
Can
a
I?
fog of like, when did we act? So we got a beer at Roscoe's. This is like the recent like, hey, should we do this record? The Adam tribute record, and wasn't it like 2023 or something?
As I say way too
couple
many
years ago.
times, like everything before 3 days ago was one long day for me. So
Yeah.
yeah,
We had a beer at Roscoe's, right? And we were like, let's do this thing. And what do you think? And I convinced you to do it.
I mean, it was 2023. It was coming out of a weird time, and I didn't have any projects really going on, and I remember like, Neil, brought that idea, and I mean, it was as natural as joining the band in the first place. It was just like, yeah, we have this music, and we have time, and we have time to kind of do it whatever feels natural. And we started meeting just as a duo and just kind of playing through it, going back through those archive recordings. I mean, Neil, how many hours of Trio Flux rehearsal recordings do you have?
Yeah, so we used to record every rehearsal, and then the other thing that was like, we had to kind of pinch ourselves and be like, wait, we used to rehearse every week? Like is that real, or is that just a memory? Like, do people do that? Is that the way the world used to
When you
work?
had the time to do, oh man.
I would
And that was
physically
the-
drive there? Like, wow.
Yeah, we would try. Yeah, so like we would rehearse in Adam's basement, and then he'd be geared up. He'd be like staging a climb, like after rehearsal. We'd rehearse from like until 9:30, and then like he was packing up the van and driving up to Hood or something to climb. the
Yeah, or like we'd be coming into rehearsal and he was like, "Oh yeah, I was just up on the mountain today." And like, despite growing up in the Northwest, like I am not an outdoorsy person.
Yeah.
So it just blew my mind constantly.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it was just a natural outgrowth of him was the outdoors.
Yeah.
And he was just at home outdoors, and yeah, it was just he was always, that was always one step away from him, as he was either coming back or getting ready to go again. It was amazing.
Yeah, and then so we could go back and listen to rehearsal recordings, and we were performance ready as a trio on most of this music that he wrote, and he wrote most of the music for the band after the record Mobius from 2012, 2013, which was actually like I think 100% my writing on that
Yeah,
record.
Mobius, I think was
And some like a Miles like Nardis
yeah,
and stuff.
a couple like arranged covers, but yeah.
Yeah, and then so when in 2015 around like Thanksgiving weekend, Adam went up to climb Kolchak Mountain, and then he was missing, and then weeks went by, search happened, and then search ended, and then it was concluded, which was the case, that he was lost on the mountain. And so the band hadn't really been, we had done a gig we had done our last gig at in October, I think it was, of 15 at Jimmy Mac's, opening for Steely Dan, which
That
is
was an
like
incredible gig.
which is like Mike Elson and Jeff Gordon and
I remember they mentioned, I think Jimmy Mac's like sold more alcohol that night than I think they ever had.
Party.
and so we would open, and actually I did a lot of the horn parts for the Steely Dan project, and
Yeah.
Adam played keys in that band.
Okay.
So it was like Adam and Ed Aoud on guitar, and like Jeff Gordon on drums, and Mike Ellison on keys, and Adam on keys, backup singers, horn section. It was like
It was
a badass
impressive.
Yeah.
Steely Dan tribute. And there's other Steely Dan tributes in town. Like
Yeah.
everybody's got a Steely Dan tribute.
As well they should.
But so on that particular gig, and I don't even know if we have recordings of that, we played, it was mostly Adam's music. So then when he did die, like it was something that he left and it was unfinished. So that's the idea, is that we all moved on to some degree, but then a couple years ago, with a pretty good runway for the project, it was like, hey, should we do this?
Yeah.
And it was like, yeah. And I can't believe that we're like, I got to start practicing again, because the gigs in a couple weeks.
Yeah. I'd imagine you haven't played this music live too much, other than
No.
Not just
In
the
the studio.
rehearsals and in the studio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, how did everything initially come together? Like meeting Adam and the band forming, and like, what do you remember about those like early interactions and like the first time playing music together?
Yeah,
Neil, first, how did we meet?
Yeah, I have no idea. No, no,
Because I don't.
So I think I know. I mean, this is early for me in Portland, but I met you at Proper Eats in St.
Jam.
John's,
Okay.
and there used to be a jam session there. Oh man, like this is like 2007, 8 era.
8, 9, yeah, because I
8,
came
9,
to the area in late 2008.
Yeah, and I met you at that jam.
Yeah, because I was just
And
kind of
then-
looking for different jams in the area, and
Exactly. Yeah. And then we actually ended up taking that jam over because the owner of the Proper Eats is like right across from the theater, right across from Slim's.
Okay.
It's like this grocery store with a cafe in the back.
Okay.
And this is a cool hang. Jam session was going to get shut down. We convinced them to like keep going. We'll just do it like an all originals jam, because it was a whole like PRO crackdown thing with like the bar getting leaned on by ASCAP to pay a fee to have live music.
Yeah.
And so it turned into like a writing, like a originals jazz jam. And so then we started bringing in tunes, and that's how we started. And then I met Adam through teaching at the same school called Coordination, where we would go to kids' houses and teach them lessons.
Okay.
So I met Adam through that, and then I probably was like, need a drummer for this. It's pretty foggy, but I think that's the place where it started. And then that became a gig that we could have every week, where we could actually, play. And I think it was interesting because none of us were, I mean, I was probably the most like down the middle jazz player, and Julio being a founding member of the student loan bluegrass jam band, and then Adam being like some uncategorical, categorizable drummer of like, fully trained in jazz, but like his big touring project from the New York days was like Ashe, which was like a fusion jam band, like a space jam band. And so, I always think he's got a lot of Billy Cobham in him.
Oh, sure.
Like just like big rock jazz vibes. But he's not, he wasn't like doing, he wasn't like down the middle jazz drummer.
Yeah.
So we were all coming at it from a different place.
Yeah.
So then we didn't really behave like a jazz
No, and I think that worked for everybody. Like that was, I mean, the one thing I definitely remember about, like, I remember you brought the group together and you're like, oh yeah, and Adam, and we came, and it just always felt natural, and that's what you look for in a group.
Yeah.
Is that, you know, I didn't feel like we had to do a lot of explaining in terms of like, oh, here's what I'm going for with this, and it just, you know, that's what you want is you sit down and somebody says, oh, here's this song, and you start playing it, and you know, it's a combination of the people being just the right combination of people, the right combination of musical influences. I'll be the first to say I'm not an incredibly well listened person. I really am very much a, you know, performer. The best way for me to connect with music is a lot of times just through performing it and learning it and performing it. And so, you know.
But you've played for, like, I mean, so many different types of projects, and
I was fresh out of
singer-songwriters,
college and grad school. So I had done, like, you know, classical and experimental music and jazz, of course. But, you know, the band I was in at the time, was Student Loan String Band, was, you know, Americana, you know, banjo, guitar, mandolin, upright bass. But we would just kind of play everything all over the map, jazz, rock, bluegrass, whatever. And, but yeah, and it was just, and so I was kind of a little all over the place with influence. But yeah, like the music, it just kind of made sense. And it worked, and playing with Adam felt natural. And because I, you know, have a tendency to sometimes get kind of self-conscious about not having, you know, done all the proper studying for knowing jazz history and the proper way to do this and the proper way, you know, this version of this tune and this version of this tune and this album. And I don't know, it was a really comfortable environment between you and Adam of just, you know, hey, we're going to play this. And everything just kind of felt natural.
Yeah.
And that was back then, and the same thing coming back to it, honestly.
It wasn't like a lot of judgment of like, you don't know this record, this particular performance of Miles at the Vanguard, you don't know that one?
Chances are no, I don't. But yes, that's exactly what I like.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it was really cool because that's, you know, and Adam was just, you know, he's a person who liked making music, and I think that's where I was coming from. That's where Neil was coming from. And we just happened to be on the same wavelength, because it just saves so much effort when you're on the same musical wavelength of having to just kind of explain like, oh no, actually, can you go listen to this and listen to this style and try to kind of do it like this? You know, I didn't really feel like there was a lot of that.
Yeah.
It was really just, you know, the music was written for the people in the group, and it just worked, and it was great.
Neil, when you started teaching with Adam and met him through that teaching program, was there a pretty quick connection?
Adam was great as a teacher. Super. I mean, so we're very different personalities. So not so much like, you know, two peas in a pod so much, because he's like super. I mean, he's just, everybody always says full energy guy,
enthusiasm. Yeah.
And I'm a little more cool and calm and collected. So, like, for the most part,
I agree.
But like, you know, so there's that. But I think we, you know, it just most of the synergy, you know, was all about the music, and I think that the project actually, I think what you said was really cool, because I think it made space for everybody's musical personality to kind of develop and explore. So like, I think we were working it out, and then working it out together, and it was cool because we approached it like a band instead of like a you know, I hate to keep saying like jazz trio, because it's not. So by rehearsing regularly, it was a band, and then by creating new music together, then we were a band in that way, like a rock band does. Yeah. Like we rehearsed as a way to kind of orchestrate each part, and then it would be like feedback, like, oh, what if the guitar did this? Yeah. And then also one of the big things about that period of time from like 2000, the evolution was pretty huge from 2010 until that record Mobius, which I really love. There's a lot of great guest artists on it too. Mary Flowers,
it's incredible.
Andrew Oliver, James Gregg, Mark Hutchinson, like a lot of a lot of that process for me personally as a musician was actually shedding all of that like jazz pedagogy and just being more like creative in this space together.
Yeah.
And like actually evolving my sound, like adding in, you know, fully from an archtop player to Telecaster, getting into tube amps and effects pedals and broadening the sonic range, and a lot of that was like Adam kind of coaching me.
He had a lot of ideas
you need
about
to
that.
get a MXR Phase 90, and I'm like, I've never heard of this. What is this thing that you talk about? And so that's a beautiful thing.
Oh, yeah.
and it's because he had that experience in playing it.
And it was like, and the music was like challenging. I really appreciate it when you're in a group, and it's great to be in a group and making great music. It's another thing when you're making great music, and also it's like, oh, I'm gonna have to be better to play this. Like, there's, oh man, I can't remember the tune off the top of my head. The one that I had to play, it was mostly thumb position. There was like the ostinato.
Oh yeah, I'd always write something for you to play. That
Yeah,
was, like,
and there was
ridiculous.
just, and like I was, I love a challenge, and but yeah, there was just stuff that I love the feeling of going back and looking at old recordings and listening to it and going, oh, I played that. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
A lot of work.
I don't know if I can just pick up the bass and play that right now.
Yeah.
That's, and there was just some stuff that we had to work out as a group, and I had to work out individually, because it was, and it's one thing to have to learn tricky stuff because you have to perform it. I did that a lot in an academic setting, but it's another thing to learn tricky stuff because it's like, oh, this is great. Like, I like this, and I want to be able to play this.
Yeah.
And, sometimes you had to kind of make concessions with where you were as your current talent level and your current skill level. But, yeah, for the most part, it was really cool to have a project that, we could say, well, what if this was up an octave? And I'd be like, well, I can't do that, but we'll see if I can.
You can
in a
work
couple
towards
weeks.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see if it works out.
You had something to, bring
Yeah,
you
totally.
each week when you were doing that.
And I'm not a
rehearsal of that.
composer. Like, that's the other thing is I've never been a composer. My brain's never really gone that direction. Improviser.
Yeah.
But I'm the type of person in a workplace. I'm the individual contributor.
Yeah.
And but it still felt like I was part of the creative process.
Yeah, you definitely were.
Because it was just that kind of environment. It
Yeah.
was
Yep.
neat.
When did things shift from, Neil, you said that like you were writing a lot of the music initially. It was like a lot of your compositions.
Yeah.
Obviously, I know this record is all Adam except for one.
Yeah,
Two.
that's
One
right.
tune?
Yep.
So
no,
like
two, yeah, one.
when did that shift happen, and like why did it
Yeah, why?
happen?
I think that Adam around 2013, 2014 was getting ready to he was actually 2015 he was wrapping up his work as a teacher and ready to move with his partner to like South America, I think.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
And he had some personal life transitions happening in that time, around that time, 2014. Was living in a different place, different relationship. And so, yeah, I think he somehow entered into this phase of creative output.
Yeah.
And so when we kept that regular rehearsal schedule going, and it's now 10 years ago, 10, 11, 12 years ago, and can't remember like the conversations about that. It was just sort of, I think, a foregone conclusion. We were a group, we rehearsed, we spent time, that's how we spent time together. And when we did the rehearsals, Adam would have a tune.
Yep.
And then we would, and he would bring it written by hand, like kind of some basic things, like maybe a bass line,
Yep.
a pattern, a melody, a chord progression, and then we would go from there. And I mean, they were pretty well conceived tunes. The tunes on the record are I would say like well conceived coming to that rehearsal point, and then it was just a matter of us like really shaping the sort of
Yeah, because like we would figure
approach.
out stuff like how many times do we want to repeat this section? Which part is going to be the solo section?
where's the solo?
Yeah, how many? Because like he would come in with like the A section, the B section, and everything, but we hadn't really worked out like the form maybe, or maybe the intro, or how many solos, how long, and so that's the kind of stuff we'd work out as a group.
For example, one of the tunes on the record is called New Love. And so without having like, him to tell us exactly what the songs are about, the songs are about things that were going on with him at the time. And one of the other songs is called Couloir, which is actually the crevasse type thing that he was actually climbing when he was lost, which is incredibly, I don't know, deep and disturbing or meaningful. And on that particular tune on the record, we had Tom Barber, who's a trumpeter, Pink Martini, composer, played with everybody, just an amazing musician. He arranged the 4 cellos, and we worked with Valdine from the Portland Cello Project and had them in the studio, 4 cellos in the studio. And that piece is pretty intense and, probably, they're all really solid on the record, but that's a really important piece. And the fact that like that's about climbing is just an incredible feature of the record that, and he was like a extremely gifted technical climber. He was not a hobbyist, and so, the climbing is a part of this record, I think, in a way, because it was such a big, meaningful thing for Adam. I mean, it was his thing,
It was his hockey.
Yeah.
Neil and I play hockey together. So.
Exactly.
I admire you guys for that.
So, I know you mentioned before, you came into the group like real jazz-minded.
Yes, I did.
Almost like being broken open a little bit by maybe what you guys were playing. So, like, did you guys notice like a pretty significant shift in like what the sound was that you guys were creating when you started playing all these compositions that Adam was bringing
originally
to
or
the table?
Later ones?
Like a change in the approach?
Like when you guys shifted and like Adam was bringing a lot of the ideas, like did that feel much different to you guys?
I remember Snow Crash was like one of the early ones that Adam brought in.
Yeah, so that one
Was
goes
there
back.
any others that I'm forgetting? I remember Snow Crash, but I was trying to think if there was any other Adam compositions of the first two. I don't know. It again, like it always just kind of felt natural. Like at some point, Adam just kind of brought in compositions, and I remember being, curious about kind of what it was, and then I just remember like starting to play it and going like, oh, it's a different color than kind of some of the stuff that we've done so far with Neil, but
it's different
still, it still fits this group. Like he was definitely writing for Trio Flux.
Yeah.
Yes.
And your guys' approach to things was still feeling similar.
It didn't
and, like,
change.
The group dynamics were all there. It was just like
we have a new
different person bringing the main idea or the initial idea.
I think it's such a cool thing to explore, like, because I think when I was bringing tunes, it was more like, I don't think I was writing as specifically for Trio Flux as I was just writing what was in front of me. Like, I have to figure out this thing I want to figure out, and now let's bring it to the band. Because a lot of times and some of Adam's pieces benefited from more parts. So we're Trio Flux, but we added keys and, we added pieces as needed to make the music really full.
Whatever it needed, really, yeah.
But I think the thing, like you said, about Adam's, this body of work is that we were more formed in our sound. So he was writing at a time where he could, like, he knew more about us, whereas a lot of my early tunes didn't have that information. Like this is Julio's. Like I think he knew more than I did what our strengths were.
Neil's early music like kind of helped shape the sound and everything, and I think Adam definitely took it. Like once we had the sound, he was writing for it.
He knew where everybody's strengths and capabilities were, and
even then he still was like, pushing us a little bit.
Yeah,
and I mean it definitely happened. Yeah, it definitely happened with this record.
Yeah. I think this is like somebody writing for something that's more familiar.
Yeah.
With the familiar ensemble in mind. And that probably shows. I think it's really, I think it represents, it's like, this really represents what this band is all about.
Yeah. And not to guide the conversation, but this is a pretty good transition into the drummers that we're featuring on the album.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. How did you decide who to involve?
Neil, that's you.
Yeah, well, I mean, we just made a list of our most favorite people,
Did a lot of the people that played have some sort of relationship
I don't think any
with
of them.
Adam or
The drummers, I
knew
don't think
him?
any of them did.
No.
Okay.
I don't, not, I mean, awareness,
Maybe.
but we went through we did ask some people that are really close to Adam if they wanted to take that on.
Yeah.
And we can't even remember. Ultimately, we reached out to Micah, and we reached out to Tyrone, and we reached out to Brent, and I think we just had a meeting in my dining room. We were practicing through the tunes as a duo, and just said who do you think? And then I think what was fun is that we didn't have to answer the question at one point we were should we have a different drummer on every tune? And then we realized that
Might
kind
be a
of
bit much.
doesn't really work logistically.
Yeah.
And then we just started thinking of these guys. And then more than a year ago, we were rehearsing with them, maybe just a trial rehearsal with Micah. And then a year later, in prep for the recording session, we rehearsed with them again. I mean, that's basically it. Same thing with Tyrone Hendricks. And so it was conversation and brainstorming and who will fit this tune and the feel and the feeling, and that's really important.
And they captured, it was interesting because each of them, they're very different drummers, but they all captured something about Adam's style. Tyrone, very groove, very deep pocket, and captured that. And what I liked about the tunes that Tyrone played on, which made me think of Adam, is these tunes that you listen to them and that you wouldn't think oh, this is a groove tune. This is but that's how Adam would write. I would listen to him wow, this is kind of abstract. But then we'd start playing it and it would just kind of settle in. And I was oh yeah, he did that. But then Micah kind of brought this very kind of almost virtuosic kind of outside the box approach.
Micah Hummel will do that,
Yeah, but it still fit because I mean again because Adam would, he was very talented. And he was very skilled, and so I go back and I listen. I remember one of the first times I played Trio Flux's music for an old musician I played with in a different band earlier, my old college roommate. And I remember his first stop. Oh man, your drummer's really good. and it's funny because and then Brett was just kind of picked a little bit of both. And but then also had some of that kind of willing to just go all out with the kind of rock sensibility a little bit.
Yep.
And he brought that Adam, that was kind of a more particular thing to that Adam always brought, which, in addition to being skilled and having a good pocket, he also just knew how to put on a show and knew how to just start hitting things hard when it was time for it. And so I think that between the three drummers, we managed to kind of capture what we were looking for and what we needed.
Yeah, and the drum performances on the record really carry the day.
Yeah,
I mean they really do.
Yeah,
and it is. I think it is interestingly, and sort of planned, but also a little bit luck, or just we're fortunate to have been. It just feels like different aspects of Adam's, like you said, his musical personality. Yeah.
Do you guys recall maybe the emotions that you experienced maybe the first time you got in the room with Micah or Tyrone and maybe played these songs without Adam but playing his tunes and just starting to kind of form where this record would go and what that was like for you guys?
It was exciting.
I
because I do so much work with Americana and singer-songwriters and stuff, I actually strangely don't play with a lot of drummers these days. There's only a handful of projects that I'm in that, and a lot of those projects, even the drummer's optional. And so I, as a player, have gotten, I always have this moment when I play with a drummer again where I'm just like, oh, my job's way easier now. And, and, whether it's because they're a good drummer or just because they match your sensibility or both, ideally, there's a certain excitement that comes with that. And it's like, if I'm entering in a room and it's like, I'm going to play this music that I'm already, a little bit a part of because it was created around the group. But it's like we're bringing in people who know what they're doing, who know what the project is, and who are here to help make it happen. So honestly, it actually felt like kind of Trio Flux was just kind of back again, and there wasn't really rust to shake off.
Yeah.
I mean, there was rust to shake off as a player sometimes and getting used to it, but it was just, I was excited. It was just really exciting to sit down and, being like a decade, further along in my own performing and my own practice, like, having a lot more confidence in my own playing and just being able to go into it with a little bit less of that feeling of, oh my God, I might have to learn more to do this well, or I might have to, it just kind of felt exciting to me. It was really cool to just sit down and play the music again and have guys who were committed to the project. And so for me, it was definitely excitement from the first rehearsal.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, we miss Adam deeply, and it felt like in the recording sessions, like we were all thinking about his presence was there in a way, like, it was definitely a pretty intense experience. And having Steve Watkins producing, and Steve grew up with Adam in Schenectady, New York.
Okay.
That was the key to this record. Like the first thing we did was when Julio and I had a beer and said, are we going to do this? And then it was like, call Steve, do you think we should do this? And will you produce the record?
Yeah.
And he was like, tell me when and where, and we're done. We're doing this. And so that meant that, I mean, even more so than I can, like that's going all the way back to,
it's huge.
Honoring, what Adam meant to his really close friends and pals in town. And so then in addition to Steve, we brought in Mike Elson, who is also part of that cohort crew of people that knew Adam, that played with Adam, that were friends, that hung out. It's like family, basically. And then additionally, Jake Savage, who was the keyboardist and co-composer in the band Ashe. He played on one tune.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Yeah. And so we, asking people to be involved that have even longer history with Adam than Julio and I.
Yeah.
And so with that, made it even feel more special, and then you're in the studio and you're tracking, so you need, it's like that's kind of a marathon thing. That's a mindset. You got to get good sleep and eat good food and like be there, and you got to make it happen. So having Steve there egging us on was great.
It's great personality, a lot of talent, great ears.
Yeah.
And
like you said, you get like his childhood connection, or and like then it becomes not just about memorializing like Trio Flux, but even Adam.
Mm-hmm. I would have felt nervous just if it was just the two of us doing it. There would have been I would have felt weird about that. And I think having even his family giving input and his friends and just like that made, I don't know, it brought his presence to it a lot more, I think, because he physically was not there. There were just so many people who had been around him in different ways that just kind of like, kind of create that outline of him being there anyway. And it's really cool.
You get to bring the spirit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely.
One time we were rehearsing, and it's on because I was going through some of the rehearsal recordings. He's like, what if the guitar on that solo just doesn't play as many notes?
Hell yeah.
And I literally, like, little voices like that, like that's how he's present on the record, because they're like, I feel like that. I mean, for one, like, okay, people, like, I do a lot of other things professionally now in my life, and like
Yeah.
you know, I don't practice guitar every day.
Yeah.
And I practice a lot for the recording session, and I have to start practicing again for the gig and whatnot. But you know, I do feel more mature as a musician, and the music allowed, I think, some of that voice to come out. But I did feel like that little voice in my head of like, you know, just basically say what you mean, like in solos and presenting the music, mean what you say what you mean. And that's something that was a personal growth thing as an improviser and a musician for me that I think I attribute to Adam, because that's the thing that I needed to. I mean, it's kind of like there's some BS about being in the world of like jazz and trying to like, you know, play for everybody else instead of for yourself, you know, or be yourself. And so I think that's one of my biggest appreciations to Adam. And I feel like I'm so glad that I feel like some of those elements that I was able to bring to the record happen, and they're not, you know, too many words, too many notes, you know.
Yeah.
But also I'm rusty, so I don't have the fingers to play as many notes.
But undoubtedly, both of you feel like an impact was made. Like there's like musician who you were like before you started playing with Adam, and and post.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Man, huge. And we get the experience of getting to make this thing, and it's for us, you know, for Adam, but it's for us and for the community of people, you know.
Yeah.
It's you know, and that's a gift that he gave us.
Yeah.
You know, so hopefully people like it, you know. I think it's I listen to it.
Yeah.
Probably too much at this point. Yeah.
What was it like selecting the tunes that went on here? Is that like?
Yeah, I don't think there was anything we left off. Was there?
Okay.
Yeah, it was like the complete set.
Yeah, it was
This
basically
is
what
like-
we hadn't recorded.
Okay.
Yeah. But you know, and then how the order, the drum, like a lot of that curation was, you know, what we did in the year and a half leading up to last March when we went in the
Space
studio.
Garbage, that was another one. Isn't that one that one's on the recording, right? No, okay. What was the one that we played before that we're doing again?
Well, so I went back and we never recorded Snow Crash. Actually,
Really?
Yeah, it's one of the older tunes that he wrote in the early days. That just kind of, you know, it helps round out the record, and so it's.
Wait, really? We didn't record?
Yeah,
Snow
I don't
Crash?
see it on any of our
Wow.
recordings. I could be wrong, but I mean, it's definitely not
I don't
on the
remember.
second
Yeah.
record. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the and you know, when you're doing the track order, it's just trying to put forward that's where everybody has an opinion.
Yeah.
We had
I
a text
don't.
thread going around.
I have.
Okay, I mean, you know, it's like
Julio's like, leave me out.
Well,
of it.
no.
it's like
I-
how do you introduce the album? It's a great thing about making albums. It's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how did you come to the conclusion of like what opened up the record? Like, why did you feel good about that being the opening track?
Yeah, that was like a democratic process.
Yeah.
I think like Tyrone's on this tune called New Love, and then we got Mike Ellison to play Hammond B3 on it. And he has a great approach on the B3.
Mm-hmm.
It's very much like in response, like a lot of call and response with my part. And it's an odd metered tune, but it's actually, I mean, Tyrone figures out a way to put a backbeat on a tune in 7. I mean, it's actually a fairly common thing, but it's actually it's so cool sounding, and it's got it's just a great vibe. It's something that I could imagine maybe them playing on KMHD. I don't know, maybe.
I do think it's really nice when you can get an
Where
odd
you at,
time
Bryson
tune
Wallace?
to
Yeah.
sound not odd time. Like
Yeah,
that, I
exactly.
think that's the whole idea. Honest, personally, I like it
Yeah.
when there's a tune that is not on an even meter, but you don't. That's not the first thing you notice.
Yeah, you're not thinking, it's not right in your face. And then we really wanted to elevate Couloir because
How dare you?
That's all for the podcast, guys. Neil has no respect for the show. The record is out now. It's called Zweiss. You can check it out, and they're going to play a show too. So thanks, everyone. We're going to play it out with a song off the record. I'm just kidding.
So funny, man. What was that? My like eat lunch alarm?
Is that what that is?
Yeah, it's like remember to eat.
All right, cool. Great.
Which I'm forgetting, so thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Yeah, I mean, I was going to say the couloir tune is like pretty important to the record, so we wanted that to come out near the top of the the track listing, and then just kind of going with the mood. I think that's how we did it. And let me tell you, Micah's solo on the last tune, Far From Here,
Oh my God.
is like just ballistic. It's just it's just, I mean, it's unbelievable, his metric thing and his technical thing, and we got to we track it like a rock record, so there's a little bit of two worlds. So we go in and we recorded all the trio work.
Okay.
And so it definitely is live recorded. Mm-hmm. It's not pieced together like a pop record.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But then we did a thing that I'm not ashamed to say, like bringing in pieces and having like Mike Elson almost write a part to the trio track recording. So his, this is the behind the scenes, everybody, like the his approach to call and response is after the fact. So he's comping and that really is strong on the record. And I really love that approach. And then the other piece of that was on couloir with the four cellos.
Oh yeah.
They came in the studio and knocked that out like in an hour, and that's good because we had a budget and it's four cellos. Thomas composed and arranged the cello part post trio track.
Yeah.
So he had the trio track and he did that, which is it's just amazing to listen to. I can't separate it out anymore.
Yeah. No,
like how did that? And so, and who knows? I don't know if Tyrone's even heard the version with the cellos, because it is epic. And then also Steve Watkins went in and did some studio magic with a Roland Space Echo, which is something that's, if you want to get nerdy. Do we get nerdy here?
You do whatever you want.
Yeah.
It's your episode.
Yeah. So we did some reamping with the Leslie. So it's just fun to be in the studio. I think the album's sonically pleasing. Yeah. I don't think it's I don't think it's too many notes.
I think it's accessible.
Yeah, it's accessible.
Yeah.
And it doesn't sound like jazz. It doesn't sound like maybe a little rock, but it's definitely it's in a weird spot, which is, I think, perfect for Trio Flux.
Yeah.
It should be like, what is this?
Yeah. It's like how it always kind of
That's how it should be. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to say jazz fusion, but I've had the experience more than once of saying the words jazz fusion out loud and had somebody laugh and go, "Wait, do people still say that?"
Yeah, no. I know it doesn't quite fit. Like, well, and then we dug up some old reviews from Willamette Week from our old days, and we were dubbed a clandestine rock band.
That's accurate. Sure.
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, so we present as a jazz trio, but we're really a rock band.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm okay with that.
So. The tune that I wrote, I'm not shout out to myself, but the drummer Brent Follis on that tune. That was so. The cool thing about having one tune, it helped fill out the record having one tune, but it really was that same era of the band.
Okay.
So it was like kind of like the one tune that was new after that 2013 Mobius record, and but it was very co-arranged.
Yeah.
Like it was developed in rehearsal together.
Yeah.
So it belongs there. And it's just a beautiful performance by Brent on that, on some amazing, just I think he doesn't even use the snare the whole time. It's like just a lot of mallets and a lot of toms. It's just really cool.
Was there something in particular that you were hoping that tune would communicate as far as, I don't know, fitting into the spirit of the record, since that was the one that was not composed by Adam? And
I think we just
I think it's just
same
fit.
approach. It's just the same. It's just it belongs. It's part of their. It just so happens that was one that I brought to the group. So in a way, it was the same kind of thing with Adam writing once we really knew each other really well.
Yeah.
That's I just wasn't writing as much.
Yeah.
And so that responsibility shifted over naturally, and we didn't really have a vacuum of material, but so I just did less. So there's that one tune. It helps because then we have enough for an LP, honestly. And then one tune is there's no drummer, which is kind of cool. So the 7th track
which was an Adam, and it was an Adam tune.
It was, yeah. And so it's just the bass and guitar, and it's kind of the, I don't know, it's kind of the postlude of the record.
Yeah.
It kind of takes us out at the end.
yeah.
It's wild how a tune that Adam, I mean, he wrote it obviously, but it's just wild that a tune that doesn't have drums on it. But it's just like, no, it's still very much, it's still very much a Trio Flux tune, just as the tunes that with 7 people on them are still Trio Flux tunes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Did you guys spend a lot of time together not playing music during like when Adam was alive and you guys were doing Trio Flux stuff? Was there like a lot of hangs, or is there like, I don't know, like what do you remember about Adam's spirit, I guess, and just like what did you enjoy, not just about playing music with him, but just like being around him? And
so I'm an introvert, and I've had to learn over my life that introvert doesn't necessarily mean quiet as much as it means that your natural mode for recharging is kind of by yourself. And Adam was an extrovert.
Yeah.
And so like the biggest thing I remember in terms of like meeting Adam outside is their Halloween party.
Yeah.
I mean, every year he'd be part of putting on just an amazing Halloween party. And I think I went a couple times, and but like Adam was just a very, very joyful and enthusiastic person. And again, as an introvert, as the type of person who it's like, it depends, sometimes being around people can kind of sap your energy, but like it wasn't like that, and personally it can't be like that if I'm going to really be a part of a group that I can't be the type of group where I have to kind of psych myself up to go to rehearsal.
Yeah.
But like, no, it was always a very like fun, welcoming, like it has to be for us to continue rehearsing every week for as long as we did.
Yeah.
And it just and that was kind of our relationship, was being in that band together. But like it wasn't like we would go in there and it was just all purely professional, like we'd leave our lives at the door and just make music. Like there was still plenty of the music was just kind of that was our medium for knowing each other and our relationship with each other. And it was just like, I think, when I think about Adam as a person who I knew, I just kind of am always thankful for, what he brought. Like he brought enthusiasm, he brought excitement. Like the music that he would bring in would inspire me to want to play better.
Yeah.
But there was also never a sense of like, oh, you can't play that. Oh, you haven't listened to that. Oh, there was never any real sense of like posturing or anything about, you have to bring this kind of attitude or this type of professionalism. It was just, I admire the willingness for the music to be the relationship and the band to be the relationship. And it didn't have to feel like we were cutting off other parts of our lives to kind of come into this space.
Yeah. It always felt like a fun place to be.
It was just like,
totally.
That's the ideal that I'm always, I've only been in, I've been part of a lot of groups and played for a lot of people, but in terms of like bands, projects that I've been a part of that I'm actually an active collaborator in, there's only a handful because, I mean, in order to really do that, there has to be a sense of comfort. You can't be going into rehearsal and then walking out of rehearsal and feel sapped.
Yeah.
That's not sustainable.
Yeah.
And and having that relationship with Adam, it was never that. I always would go in and I could be tired and I could be, like, oh boy, that was hard, or oh man, I need to do my work. But it was a sense of, it was always energizing.
Yeah.
And yeah, for someone who is very much kind of a homebody and not an outdoorsy person, it was always neat to be able to find that kind of common ground and just come in. And I mean, Neil, maybe I might be blacking things out, but I don't think I remember us ever having any like arguments as a band.
No, I don't know. Yeah,
I don't remember.
What's there
like,
to argue about? Really, when it comes to
yeah, but like I know some of you, there's people who that's how they like to interact.
Like things are, the goods are forged in the fire.
Yeah,
for some people.
But like no, it was always just kind of we come in and we played, and sometimes obviously like somebody might be coming, oh man, I had it really busy today, or I'm just really tired, because like we were all working. I mean, you were teaching, Adam was teaching,
yeah,
I was working, and like we were coming at the end of a work day typically.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a testament by itself. The fact that we would go in, rehearse on a weekly basis, and do gigs in the midst of having very busy professional lives. It wasn't like this was the only thing we had going on.
Yeah.
It's a thing. I don't think it really. I don't know. It doesn't exist for me anymore. But I don't think it's. I think it's an old way of doing things.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that's people tend to. I mean, everybody's a solo project now anyway.
Yeah.
In music.
Yeah.
But yeah, Adam's circle was so tight, and these were like, like people like Steve and Christy and all those friends, and we felt like we were like, like honorary members of that crew.
We're just kind of in the orbit,
but not necessarily, obviously without the history. So, they did all kinds of, like Adam and Christy hosted all kinds of things, like, parties at their house, and we'd be invited. And
yeah, we're always invited.
Sometimes go to things like that and be like, well, I don't know anybody.
Yeah.
But, so I think mostly we did. It was mostly contained within that music relationship, but it was very important for this project to involve Steve and folks from that circle, and we've only grown closer to them through this process.
That's really cool.
And so, but yeah, I know that there's a lot of barbecues and a lot of Brady parties that were at Adam's house.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's a huge part of what this is all about,
Yeah. Did you get to observe Adam teaching much while you were doing that? Like, do you remember what maybe his approach was, or like the way he was with kids? Or
I think a little bit. So he would teach piano and a little. I mean, there's probably fewer drum students on his piano and drums, but and we were both doing the thing where you would go to kids' houses. So occasionally there were siblings who were like, this sibling's taking guitar and this one's taking piano, and so like a teacher would like, oh hey, you're teaching that kid, and he's leaving, and like yeah, and catch just a vibe of like his care for the kids and students, and I wish I would have seen and witnessed more, but I just had coffee with the guy who ran that program yesterday, and he's going to come to the show. His name's John, and he had more, as the person who basically hired him, had more of that experience. But his family, the families of the kids that so loyal to Adam. Like he had just a full roster of the travel teaching thing. It's interesting because you can't help. You're going into somebody's home. You can't help but to build a relationship with the family. You become part of the family sometimes. And then I would witness him teaching. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm not even mentioning this. He and I were teaching this group of women, like a rock band, and we did it kind of on the side. And so, so we would go to this woman Sharon's house, and she played the drums, and her friend played keys, and there was a guitarist and the bassist, and I would kind of handle the guitar and bassist, and Adam would teach the keys and drummer, and we'd just go for an hour or so and help them with their rehearsal, learning songs like, the Black Keys, stuff like that. And so, yeah, I totally witnessed that, actually. Duh. And he's great, super patient and positive, as you have to be, as a teacher. And, just being able to, like, bring out the best in people, being encouraging. I don't, just never something that makes somebody feel, put down,
Yeah.
It's always encouraging, and making sure people are seeing what that next positive step is.
Yeah.
So I got to totally witness that. But the one-on-one lessons and piano and stuff, not as much. And then seeing his kids perform at recitals, you just see that he was an effective teacher, he was a passionate teacher, he was caring, and those are all like the key things.
Yeah.
But yeah, fun to teach with too, in that format. I wanted to like name names of who these people were, but I can't because
Legal reasons.
yeah, it's non-disclosure.
It's like AA.
Yeah.
You don't name names.
We'll just call him Gordon.
We actually, this group of women were like getting to where they were going to play a gig, and so we went to this restaurant and helped them set up and do the gig.
Yeah.
And that's fun, but as a teacher, I don't like how it feels to be nervous on behalf of your kids. like I got enough to be nervous about if I'm the one playing, but what's that's like you're like, oh, it's like being a parent,
Yeah.
It's like it's horrible.
Absolutely. I don't know. How do you guys feel knowing that it's done, or do you think that you will feel like it's actually complete once you've done this performance that's going to happen at the
I think the
Alberta
performance
Rose?
will probably be a cherry on top. I mean, I think
Oh, yeah.
that'll really wrap it up because, I mean, in the end, I mean, all the rehearsals and everything that Trio Flux did we were a group that practiced a lot to perform.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
that bringing, the record was definitely part of it. And for me, it's always nice doing a record because it really forces you to lock in and make decisions. And as weird as it sounds, you can avoid doing that even if you're performing on a regular basis.
Yeah.
You can still be like, oh, we played it this time that way. We played it this time that way. Oh, maybe we'll do it this way this time. But when you do a record, you got to make decisions. And, now that we rehearsed the music for a couple of years as a duo, then we started having we did a couple of rehearsals. We really codified it in the studio.
Yeah.
And so now I do enjoy the process of actually like being able to look at music a little bit, but then also listen to the record and go, what did I do there? Oh yeah, that was a good choice.
Yeah.
But then also occasionally go, oh, okay, well, I have, with the benefit of hindsight now and hearing the whole product, maybe I'll do this a little bit. But yeah, the performance is definitely going to put a bow on everything.
Yeah.
Personally, it feels really good to have actually followed through with the promises that I made to myself and other people to do the record, to do the sessions. There's a lot of moments of like, we're going in, it's next week, hope this goes well.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
mixing, it's like, is this, all these things, and so I'm very pleased overall and really thankful that we're here and it's ready. I mean, it does feel really good because, there's a lot of other things to add. That project this year was another thing for me in my professional life that was like needed to prioritize.
Yeah.
So, and this next month, I'm just saying it for myself, is like I gotta prioritize making sure this show is really cool. Thankfully, we have Outer Orbit playing as well, which is going to be a nice way to make it worth the price of admission.
Yeah.
And which I think it would be either way, but it's just our part is, the album's about 30 minutes, so it's like.
And I mean, it's community, music community.
Yeah,
and
lots of overlap too between
and
the
that's
bands.
that's how it was when we were with Trio Flux. Like,
Yeah.
we would just find other bands that were kind of, either similar style or similar audience, and just kind of, it was always nice to be able to, overlap a little bit there. So it's very much in the spirit of, it feels like a Trio Flux performance coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what a beautiful thing. You're going to have this record forever to like reflect upon this time. I know it's been 10 years.
It does feel like it helps to, I don't want to say close a chapter, but it's important that it's documented.
Yeah.
And so it not being documented would have been, I think, a real shame.
Yeah.
You know, and so we did it.
Yeah. You get to like forever tap into this thing whenever you want.
Yep.
I mean, it means a lot. I mean, even just the mere fact that so many of these tunes, like there was a couple of the tunes that, I mean, I even said it today, like they were so like present that I was just like, wait, we didn't record that? Like,
Yeah.
And so, you know, and so, yeah, the mere fact that a lot of them just already had that feeling for me. And then, you know, being able to finally just say, okay, yeah, no, it's recorded. It happened. It's done. Like that means a lot.
I'm curious if, you know, you knew Adam was like really good climber and really, you know, did this a lot. Did you guys ever think twice about it when he would be like, you know, you'd see him at practice.
Nope.
See him at the shows and he's like, I'm going on the climbing adventure. Like he's like never really worry about anything's going to happen to your friends. I mean, like I know people that do that sort of thing like pretty regularly too. And I feel like you just don't really think about anything crazy happening.
No,
like, was there ever...
honestly, you know, it was just kind of like, I mean, yeah, it was sudden, but I mean, it always is going to be, whether it had to do with the outdoors or not.
Yeah.
And so like, yeah, it was just, he was just kind of it was just part of him. And like, it was never anything any more than I would say, you know, driving on the highway every day is probably also, you know, I was driving every day from, you know, on I-5. You know? And so it's like, it was just, I don't know, like, that never really, I would feel like I would never do that, but not because of the danger, but because of just, I wasn't an outdoorsy person.
Yeah.
But like, I can't imagine I would ever be like, oh man, that's dangerous. No, like it was the outdoors was a language he spoke. Like, you know, so I think I don't know. I think, if there's something you're passionate about and that brings you joy, you know, do it.
Yeah.
Like, and don't be limited by fear. If there's something that's important, if making an album, whatever, like I just, you know, I think that would be my kind of takeaway from it is I think I admire the fact that there wasn't fear involved.
Yeah.
And that it was just like, no, this is important to me. This brings me energy. This brings me joy. I will do it even if it's the last thing I do.
Yeah. From things I've read and like seen, it seemed like fearlessness was like just a part of Adam's spirit.
Right. That's right. I think I probably worried just, you know, at some point, you know, like maybe just thought of like, oh, geez, like that's a thing, you know. Because it was so frequent, though, I don't think that before long it was just like that's always happening.
Yep.
He's always, almost every weekend, he's going up on Mount Hood or somewhere else.
He knows that place.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure like others close to him maybe had a different feeling about it, you know. Also didn't really know exactly what's involved.
Yeah, I'm not a climber.
When you say I climb Mount Hood, I'm like, oh,
is he like scaling a horizontal wall? Like,
and there's some of that, I think. There's some of that technical climbing,
Right.
not necessarily at Mount Hood, because I think that's a pretty, you know, it's just enduring, you know. And then there's other dangers, you know, like ice and melts and stuff like that. But, you know, Adam was pushing himself. And I think my understanding of the thing is that it's like in the spirit of self-betterment and in the spirit of facing your fears and improving yourself, you know, and for that, like, he's a hero, man.
Yeah.
Like, he's doing it. And that's the example that I think it does kind of filter down into the music. Like, for me, like, that's, you know, oh yeah, I'm going to evolve.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to be better, you know.
And there's a level of presence that you have to tap into to be doing that type
You
of
gotta
thing.
be now. It's now.
Yeah.
I think that was probably a thing, you know, like, it's every decision is right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I don't even know, but I'm very uninitiated into the climbing world, so
Yeah.
other folks could say more deep things about it.
Yeah.
But it does definitely make it, in retrospect, it is one of those things that I took away from it, just admiring him for it, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, just 'cause it makes me think about what's that important in my life that I don't think about, oh, maybe this, but I don't second guess it. I don't, question it. I'm just like, no, I know this is important, and I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Like Comic-Con?
Used to be. I used to be a Comic-Con guy, but yeah, I mean, honestly, though, like, you're just like those times where you're like, oh, I want to make this costume. I don't really know how to use a sewing machine, but I'm gonna figure it out because this is important. And I
find a
there.
way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like I remember being in 6th grade. I remember I had seen there was a comic I read where somebody had made the Statue of Liberty out of either toothpicks or matchsticks. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. And I had to do a project in class. And they were like, you have to make a bridge. And I remember thinking like, oh, I'm going to make a working suspension bridge out of toothpicks. And my grandparents bought me a bunch of toothpicks, and like I figured it out. And like I made these little like rafts. I would like do 2 across, and and I just made this whole bridge, and I put like a little Batmobile Hot Wheels car on it, and like it had a little thing I could turn, and the bridge would go. And like, and it was just one of those things. It was just like, oh, I can do this.
Yeah.
I want to do this, and I did. And I remember after it was done, I just like smashed it.
Yeah.
And it took me like weeks, and I
That's
just
sweet.
like didn't even question it. I was just like, oh, okay, cool, it's done, and I smashed it. But it's like, it was that same kind of feeling of just like, when that enthusiasm and that excitement just kind of takes hold of you. You're just like, oh no, this is important enough to me that, oh, can I sew? Do I know how a pattern works? Do I know how to do this? Like, oh, I can find people to teach me that. This is important.
Yeah.
You don't even stop to question it. It's wild.
Neil, I saw this thing that you had written maybe back in 2016, or seemed like it was close to around the time that Adam had passed. And one of the things that was mentioned in there that I think that one of your takeaways was don't sweat the small stuff.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. That's those are wise words.
Yeah.
Thanks, Pass Neil.
Yeah. I don't know that I always follow that advice.
But it seemed like maybe something you had grabbed from Adam.
Yeah. I think I wrote something like, I just felt like at the time of his passing, like I think, so 2015, early 2016 probably.
Yeah, I think that's when it was.
And it was like an Oregon music news, like remembrance.
Yeah.
I just felt like I had to do that. And I'm not like a great writer, so that I think I agonized over it, but I was like, I must do this. And so I don't really remember everything that I said in there, but I think that it was interesting to reflect on a relationship. And I think now that I'm thinking about it, what you were saying earlier is that because it really was confined to the work, the music, in the band and that part of our relationship, that I struggled with like putting, like, where are these emotions? Where do they go? Where do they, how does this work? And so that's probably why I felt like I needed to kind of put it out there and say something about our friend and how he impacted the music community. But I'm really happy about doing this is really the thing.
Yeah.
This is the thing that I feel like and 10 years later, I feel like I honestly like more doable to do this with some of the skills. Like, I'm a producer now. Like,
you've arranged festivals. You
these
write
are
grants.
things that I do, and like get the financing and get support, do the fundraising, book the things, and like that. So that feels meaningful too, to kind of this where I'm at now to be able to say, let's do this, or where, and Julio, you've been a huge help in making it happen. And, and like we did, just us spending time together again.
Yeah. No,
Because
that
we
was great.
hadn't been spending much time together.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
With, mostly.
We started what, in 22, 23?
And I don't even remember. There's some like, receipt in a drawer for a beer at Roscoe's. But we had like, it was probably early 23 or early 22, so that we were like, I don't know. Anyways, I remember thinking like, we have more than 2 years to do this. and then I remember thinking like a year ago, holy shit, where did those 2 years go?
Yeah.
Like we actually have to record like in a couple months.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a freak out moment. Like,
But then you had all that, it's just funny though, because you called on all that experience you had and you just made it happen.
Yeah.
we made it happen. Yeah, we did it.
Like you're just like,
I mean,
we got some grants and we got we did the Kickstarter and we got the people together. Yeah, blew my mind. Like, I was just like, wow.
Yeah.
He knows
Yeah.
what he's doing.
I think it's very cool and very beautiful that you guys like followed through and like made the thing happen. It's very rad.
Thanks, man.
Thanks.
Yeah. How do you guys feel? Do you guys? Is there anything else that you feel like you want to say about Adam or this record before we close things out?
Well, yeah, I would say it wouldn't have been possible without Adam's parents supporting and being there and really giving us the kind of green light to do it. So that was sort of the next conversation we had after we talked to Steve Watkins was like, going through the emails. I had found Adam's mom's email and reached out to them and said, and getting their blessing made this thing actually possible because, for us, we've got this, perspective, but for his family and his parents, like we didn't want to, open up something that would be painful, but in the end, they're 100% supportive.
Yeah.
And it's really been a great gift to be able to share and work on this. And I think we're uniquely positioned to do this work and not have it be as close as it would be for a parent.
Yeah. For sure.
And it's a gift to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I appreciate that we went to that step because also it's not, this isn't just a Trio Flux thing. Like it's not, it's not us taking ownership and saying, oh, this is our new I mean, no, it's a celebration. It's a celebration of his life. And so being able to make sure that everybody who cared about him, knows about it. Well, not everybody, but obviously, but like, the people in his orbit and that's, they had a chance to be a part of it, to share input, even the title. I mean, all that stuff. I mean, that's the idea behind this album is that is really just a celebration of, Adam's gifts and Adam's talents and enthusiasm and just being able to, bring that and, bring it up and make it a celebration of life, really.
Yeah.
In a very unique way.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't imagine that there's like, people that were connected to Adam that will find out about this record and won't want to check it out. You know?
Yeah, I hope they
Whether
do.
they listen to the whole thing or just like a few songs just to like know that like these were ideas that came from him and his spirit is within this whole project.
No, they have to listen to the whole
They
thing.
have to listen to the whole,
Otherwise,
whole thing. Or Adam's going to be pissed.
Yeah, and I'm just saying, listen to the whole thing. Hint.
One thing I didn't ask you, were the song titles already in place? Like, had Adam named these
Yeah,
songs?
he
Because
did.
you noted like some of like the significance of these songs. So
Yeah.
I guess
Totally.
makes sense. But I was just curious if there was.
Yeah, and yep, 100%.
Cool.
Like they were all really ready to go.
Yeah.
I mean, we could have cut this record with him in 2015, I think. And I think luckily we, 10 years later, we had about a year to like practice the music every few weeks together to get back to that level.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were all the tunes were named. There's a little bit of like, if you go into the Trio Flux archives, it's like, at one point, one of the songs was called Adam's New Tune.
I think the version that I even read off of during the recording still says Adam's New
Hell
Tune.
yeah.
Right.
That's awesome.
And then like, I think that's Far From Here
Yeah.
or something,
That's awesome.
like, but he named them. And that gives us, that's all we get in terms of, we didn't have conversations about what these things mean.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Like I didn't really pry.
Yeah.
Like, hey man, what's this new love all? It was obvious. There's like,
Yeah.
there's a new relationship there, but what does that major 7 chord mean? The reflection of your new love. Like, how does that relate to your, what's going on there? And
No doubt.
none of that happened. But but it does give us some, at least just like I like in art in general, like how your meaning can your art can bring I can bring my meaning to it.
Yeah.
Like, it's what I feel like when I listen to Neil Young. I'm like, I have no idea what he's talking about, so I'm just gonna fill it in with my story, my backstory.
Which is great.
Beautiful thing about art.
Yeah.
Except for when he's singing about his dog.
Yeah.
I know what that song's about.
Well, you mentioned Far From Here. That's it. That was the track I wanted to play the episode out with.
Oh, cool.
Oh, sweet. That's a good one.
Excellent.
We have this tradition around here where I have the guests say the tagline for the show to properly end it, which is "It's a program," and it means absolutely nothing. It's just
a
the
program.
Way, it's the way that my grandfather says program. He always says program. So
Program.
you guys are already doing it, but this is the one time I'll ask you to look into this camera that's sitting up on here on the desk. If we get the Trio Flux, It's a Program. You guys can deliver it however you would like.
Count 3 or cue me, Neil.
You do whatever you do.
It's a program.
They nailed it, everybody. It's Trio Flux, Julio and Neil. I'm going to put all the links in the episode notes so people can keep up with you guys and find this record.
Thank you for having us, by the way.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. It's
So great.
It's an honor to get to do something like this. For real. Like I said, I didn't know Adam. I apparently like have people that were connected to him. Like,
of course,
Neil, you and I have been friends for it feels like a pretty long time now.
Long
and,
time.
There's times where I've gotten to see you at least on a weekly basis out there on the ice, which is always a pleasure. But I think it's like, once again, can't understate like how special I think it is, like what you guys have done to celebrate your friend, and like not only for yourselves but like for his family and friends to have another piece of him is very fucking cool. So
thanks, man.
I feel honored to get to facilitate a conversation like this.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
It's
Thank you.
Yeah,
really great.
and we're gonna play it out with Far From Here.
Cool.
Enjoy.
And one more time, the date for the album release show.
It's Monday, November 17th. It's at Alberta Rose Theater, 7 p.m. Tickets are online.
Cool. Ticket link will be in the episode notes as well.
Sweet.
And that's the Jelly Jams. And we will catch you on the flip side, Portland, or wherever you are listening from. Cool.
Awesome.
We did it.
Thanks, man.